Hey, history lovers. I'm so glad you're here with me tonight. Get comfortable, because we're about to take a gentle trip back in time to the misty world of the Vikings. Together, we'll uncover 15 surprising and fascinating facts about Viking superstitions. Each one is like a little piece of the bigger story of their lives. We'll talk about the secret meanings behind their runes, the messages they believed ravens brought, and the quiet strength of Viking women who brought healing and hope to their families. You'll hear about old rituals, strange dreams, and the special magic they found right at home by the fire. Make sure you stay with me until the end, because fact 14 and 15 are really special to me. They show how Viking traditions and beliefs are still part of life in Scandinavia today. These are stories about family, memories, and how the past is always with us in gentle ways. If you enjoy these calm stories, please like, comment, and subscribe. And I'd really love to know, where are you listening from? Are you in America, Europe, Asia, or somewhere else? It's amazing to think of all of us coming together from around the world to share these stories. So settle in, let your thoughts drift, and let's step quietly into the world of Viking superstitions together. 1. The Whispering North. An introduction to Viking superstitions. If you close your eyes and let your mind drift, you might find yourself standing at the edge of a world, both familiar and strange. A world where the wind carries secrets, and the night is alive with the soft hush of ancient stories. Imagine the North, not as it is now, but as it once was, long before the hum of engines or the glow of electric lights, when the land was ruled by the slow turning of seasons. And the people who called it home listened closely to the whispers of the earth, the sky, and the sea. The North, in those days, was a place of deep forests and endless fjords, of mountains that rose like the bones of sleeping giants, and rivers that wound their way through the land like silver threads. The air was sharp and clean, scented with pine and salt, and the sky stretched wide and endless above, sometimes heavy with clouds, sometimes bright with stars. In this world, the Vikings lived, not as the fierce warriors of legend, but as farmers, fishers, weavers, and dreamers, their lives woven tightly with the land and the mysteries that surrounded them. To walk in the footsteps of the Vikings is to step into a world where every stone, every tree, every gust of wind might hold a secret, where the boundary between the seen and the unseen is thin as morning mist, and where superstition is not a word of scorn, but a gentle thread that binds the living to the world around them. In the quiet hours before dawn, when the fire burns low and the shadows grow long, the people of the North would gather, their voices soft, their eyes bright with the memory of old tales, and they would speak of things that cannot be seen, but are always felt. Superstition, in the Viking world, was not a thing apart, not a curiosity or a relic, but a living, breathing part of daily life. It was the hush that fell over the longhouse when the wind howled at the door, the careful way a mother tucked her child in at night, the small offerings left at the edge of the field, or the whispered words spoken to the sea before a journey. It was the sense that the world was alive, that every moment was touched by forces both kind and capricious, and that to live well was to live in harmony with these unseen powers. The Vikings, you see, did not think of themselves as masters of their world, but as guests, as travelers passing through a land that belonged to the spirits as much as to themselves. They believed that the land was alive with hidden beings, that the sky was watched over by gods and ancestors, and that the sea, with its endless hunger, could be both friend and foe to them. Every day was a negotiation, a gentle dance with fate, and superstition was the language in which this dance was conducted. Imagine, if you will, a small village nestled at the edge of a fjord, the houses low and sturdy, their roofs thick with turf, smoke curling from the chimneys as the evening settles in. Inside, the longhouse is warm and dim, the fire casting flickering shadows on the walls. The people gather close, their faces lit by the soft glow, and the air is thick with the scent of wood smoke and stew. Here, stories are told, not just for entertainment, but as a way of making sense of the world, of passing on the wisdom of those who came before. A child listens, wide-eyed, as an elder speaks of the spirits that dwell in the forest, of the old woman who lives beneath the roots of the great oak, of the fox that is not a fox, but a messenger from another world. The child shivers, but it is not fear that she feels. It is wonder, a sense that the world is larger and stranger than she can yet understand, and that she is a part of it, bound by invisible threads to all that lives and breathes. In the north, the line between the ordinary and the extraordinary is always shifting. A stone in the field might be just a stone, or it might be the home of a land spirit. A sudden gust of wind might be nothing at all, or it might be the breath of a god. To the Vikings, the world was full of signs, omens, and portents, and to ignore them was to invite misfortune. To pay attention was to show respect. To live in harmony with the world was to listen, to watch, to remember. Superstition, then, was not a matter of fear, but of reverence. It was a way of acknowledging the mystery at the heart of things, of honoring the forces that shape our lives, and of finding comfort in the rituals and stories that connect us to the past. In the long, dark winters, when the sun barely rose above the horizon, and the world seemed to shrink to the circle of firelight, these stories and superstitions were a source of warmth, a way of keeping the darkness at bay. The Vikings believed that the world was made up of many layers, that beneath the surface of things lay other worlds, other beings, and that these worlds touched their own in ways both subtle and profound. They spoke of the 9 realms, each with its own inhabitants and its own rules, and they believed that the boundaries between these realms were thin, especially at certain times of year, on certain nights. When the veil between worlds was at its thinnest, the people would gather, their voices hushed, and they would tell stories of those who had crossed over, of those who had glimpsed the other side. To live in such a world is to be always alert, always attentive to the small signs and signals that might mean more than they seem. A bird flying overhead, a dream remembered upon waking, the way the light falls on the water. All these things might carry meaning, might be messages from the gods or from the spirits of the land. The Vikings learned to read these signs, to interpret the language of the world, and to shape their lives in accordance with what they saw and felt. It is easy, from the distance of centuries, to dismiss these beliefs as mere superstition, as the product of ignorance or fear, but to do so is to miss the beauty and the wisdom at their heart. For the Vikings, superstition was a way of being present, of paying attention, of living with humility and gratitude. It was a way of acknowledging that the world is vast and mysterious, and that we are but a small part of it. To live with superstition was to live with wonder, to see the world not as a machine, but as a living, breathing thing full of secrets and surprises. In the quiet moments, when the world outside is still, and the only sound is the crackle of the fire, it is easy to imagine what it must have been like to live in a world where every shadow might hold a story, where every sound might be a message, where the past and the present, the seen and the unseen, are woven together in a tapestry of myth and memory. The Vikings lived in such a world, and their superstitions were the threads that held it all together. Consider the way the Vikings greeted the dawn, not with indifference, but with a sense of awe. The rising sun was not just a ball of fire in the sky, but a sign that the world was still turning, that life would go on. They might offer a quiet word of thanks, or leave a small token at the threshold, a gesture of gratitude to the powers that watched over them. In the evening, as the sun slipped below the horizon, they would gather again, their voices low, their hearts full of the day's memories, and they would tell stories of gods and giants, of heroes and monsters, of the world as it was and as it might be. These stories were not just entertainment, but a way of making sense of the world, a way of passing on the lessons of the past, and of preparing for the challenges of the future. In every story, there was a lesson, a warning, a hope, and in every superstition, there was a reminder that the world is full of mystery, and that we are never alone. The Vikings believed that the world was alive, that every rock and tree, every stream and hill was inhabited by spirits, some friendly, some mischievous, some dangerous. They believed that the gods walked among them, sometimes in disguise, sometimes in dreams, and that the ancestors watched over them, offering guidance and protection. To honor these beings was to ensure good fortune. To neglect them was to invite trouble. And so the Vikings lived their lives in a state of gentle vigilance, always watching, always listening, always remembering. In the fields, the farmers would leave a portion of the harvest for the land spirits, a small gesture of thanks for the bounty of the earth. In the forests, the hunters would whisper a prayer before taking a life, a way of acknowledging the gift and the cost. At sea, the sailors would pour a drop of ale into the waves, a tribute to the spirits of the deep. In the home, the women would weave charms into the clothing of their children, a silent prayer for safety and health. These rituals were small, almost invisible, but they were the heartbeat of daily life, a way of weaving the sacred into the ordinary, of making every moment a part of the larger story. The Vikings did not separate the sacred from the mundane. For them, every act was an act of faith. Every day a new chapter in the ongoing tale of the world. As you listen to these stories, as you let the words wash over you like the soft rain on a summer night, you may find yourself drawn into the world of the Vikings, a world where superstition is not a burden, but a blessing, a way of living with wonder and gratitude, a way of honoring the mystery at the heart of things. So let us walk together through the forests and fields, along the rocky shores and the winding rivers. Let us listen to the whispers of the north and learn the secrets of Viking superstition. For in these old stories there is wisdom, and in this wisdom there is peace as the fire burns low and the night deepens. Let us remember that the world is still full of mystery, that the old ways are never truly lost, and that, if we listen closely, we can still hear the whispers of the north, calling us home. 2. Runes in the language of fate. If you listen closely, in the hush of a northern night, you might hear the faintest scratching, the gentle sound of a blade carving into wood or stone. It is a sound as old as the forests themselves, a sound that once echoed through the longhouses and across the windswept hills of the Viking world. This is the music of the runes, the ancient alphabet of the North, and the language in which fate itself was believed to be written. In the world of the Vikings, words were not just sounds, not just marks on a page, but living things. To speak a word was to give it breath. To carve a rune was to give it form. The runes were more than letters. They were symbols of power, each one a key to a hidden door, a whisper from the old gods, a thread in the great tapestry of destiny. Imagine a Viking craftsman hunched over a piece of driftwood, his hands steady, his breath slow, the firelight flickering across his face. With each careful stroke, he carves a rune, perhaps for protection, perhaps for luck, perhaps to send a message across the miles of sea and forest. The wood is soft. Beneath his blade, the scent of pine and resin fills the air, and as he works, he murmurs the old words, the words that have been passed down from father to son, from mother to daughter, for as long as anyone can remember. The runes are not just a tool for writing, but a bridge between worlds, a way of speaking to the unseen, of asking questions and seeking answers. The Vikings believed that the runes held the secrets of the universe, that they could reveal the will of the gods, the shape of things to come. To cast the runes was to step into the flow of fate, to glimpse for a moment the pattern that lies beneath the surface of things. There are many stories of how the runes came to the world, but the most beloved is the tale of Odin, the Allfather, who hung himself from the great tree Yggdrasil, wounded and alone, for 9 long nights in search of wisdom. It is said that, at the end of his ordeal, the runes revealed themselves to him, shimmering in the darkness, and that he brought them back as a gift to humankind, a gift of knowledge and of power to the Vikings. The runes were sacred. To carve them carelessly was to invite misfortune. To use them with respect was to honor the gods. Each rune had its own name, its own meaning, its own song. Some were for strength, some for love, some for protection, some for the mysteries of birth and death. To know the runes was to hold a piece of the world's magic in your hands. In the quiet corners of the longhouse, the wise women and the seers would cast the runes, letting them fall onto a cloth, reading the patterns they made. The way the lines crossed and the shapes formed, it was a gentle art, a listening more than a speaking, a way of letting the world reveal its secrets in its own time. The questions asked were never simple, and the answers were never clear. For the runes spoke in riddles, in hints and shadows. In the language of dreams, a mother, worried for her son who has gone to sea, might ask the runes for a sign, her hands trembling as she draws the small, carved stones from their pouch. She lays them out, one by one, her breath held, her heart full. The runes speak to her, not in words, but in feelings, in images, in the quiet certainty that, whatever happens, she is not alone, that the world is watching, that fate is unfolding. As it must, the runes were used for more than divination. They were carved into weapons, into amulets, into the beams of houses and the prows of ships, to protect, to bless, to bind. A sword inscribed with runes was believed to be stronger. A ship with runes on its hull would find its way home. A door marked with the right symbols would keep out evil. The runes were everywhere, silent and watchful, woven into the fabric of daily life. There is a quiet beauty in the way the Vikings used the runes, a sense of reverence, of patience, of trust in the slow unfolding of things. They did not demand answers, but waited for them. They did not try to force the world to their will, but listened for the soft voice of fate in the long dark winters, when the wind howled outside and the snow piled high against the door. The runes were a comfort, a reminder that the world was full of meaning, that every moment was part of a larger story. The runes were also a way of remembering, of keeping the past alive, on stones set at the edge of fields. On markers by the road, the Vikings carved their stories, their names, their hopes and fears. These runestones still stand, weathered and worn, their messages half lost to time, but if you run your fingers over the old carvings, you can still feel the presence of those who came before, their voices echoing in the silence. To the Vikings, the runes were a gift, a mystery, a promise. They were a way of reaching out to the gods, of asking for guidance, of giving thanks. They were a way of making sense of a world that was often wild and unpredictable, a way of finding order in chaos, meaning in the midst of uncertainty. In the gentle glow of the fire, as the night deepens and the world grows quiet, it is easy to imagine the comfort the runes must have brought, the sense of connection, of belonging, of being part of something greater than oneself. The runes were not just marks on wood or stone, but living things full of power and possibility, a language that spoke to the heart as much as to the mind. Even now, in the quiet places of the north, you can find the old runes carved into rocks, hidden in the patterns of woven cloth, whispered in the stories told by the fireside. They are a reminder that the world is still full of mystery, that the old ways are never truly lost, that if we listen closely, we can still hear the language of fate, speaking to us in the silence. So let us linger here, in the soft light of the runes. Let us listen to their stories. Let us remember the wisdom of those who came before. For in the language of the runes, there is a promise, a hope, a gentle reminder that we are all part of the great story, that our lives, too, are written in the language of fate. As the fire burns low and the night stretches on, let us carry the memory of the runes with us, a quiet strength, a gentle guide, a thread of meaning in the tapestry of our days. For in the world of the Vikings, as in our own, the language of fate is always whispering, always waiting, always ready to be heard. And so, as we move forward, let us remember the runes and the lessons they hold. Let us walk softly, listen closely, and trust in the gentle unfolding of our own stories. For the world is full of signs, and every moment is a chance to read the language of fate. 3. The omen of ravens, messengers from the beyond in the quiet hours before dawn, when the world is still wrapped in the soft blue of night. The forests and fields of the north hold their breath. It is in these moments, when the mist clings to the earth and the first birds begin to stir, that the Vikings would sometimes hear a sound that sent a shiver through the soul. The low, throaty call of a raven, echoing across the empty sky, a sound as old as the world itself, a sound that carried with it the weight of mystery and meaning. To the people of the north, the raven was no ordinary bird. It was a creature of omen, a messenger from the beyond, a silent watcher, perched at the edge of the known and the unknown, in the stories whispered by the fireside. The raven was both feared and revered, a creature that could bring news of fortune or warning, a guide for the living and a companion for the dead. Imagine a Viking village, nestled at the edge of a dark forest, the houses huddled close together, their roofs heavy with dew in the early morning. As the first light creeps over the horizon, a raven lands on the peak of the longhouse. It's black, feathers gleaming, its eyes bright and watchful. The people pause in their work, their voices falling to a hush, for they know that the raven is not just a bird, but a sign, a message from the world beyond their own. The Vikings believed that ravens were the eyes and ears of the gods, especially Odin, the Allfather, who is said to have two ravens, Hugin and Munin, thought and memory. These great birds flew across the world each day, gathering news and secrets, returning to whisper what they had seen into Odin's ear. To see a raven, then, was to be reminded that the gods were always watching, always listening, always near. But the raven was more than a symbol of the divine. It was also a creature of the wild, a scavenger, a survivor, a bird that thrived in the harshest of lands. The Vikings admired the raven's cleverness, its ability to find food where others could not, its sharp eyes and sharper mind. In the stories told on long winter nights, the raven was a trickster, a bringer of luck, a guide for those who wandered far from home. There were many superstitions about ravens, some gentle, some tinged with fear. To see a raven flying overhead at dawn was a sign of good fortune, a promise that the day would be blessed. But to see a raven perched alone on a roof, or to hear its call at midnight, was a warning, a sign that something was amiss, that the boundaries between worlds were thin, and that the spirits were near. In the fields, the farmers would watch the ravens as they circled above the newly plowed earth, their dark wings casting fleeting shadows on the ground. It was said that if a raven landed in the field and began to call, the harvest would be plentiful. But if the bird turned its back and flew away, the year would be hard. The people learned to read the movements of the ravens, to listen to their calls, to find meaning in the patterns of their flight. At sea, the sailors watched for ravens as they set out on their journeys. A raven flying ahead of the ship was a good omen, a sign that the voyage would be safe. But if the bird circled and then vanished into the mist, the sailors would pause, their hearts heavy with unease. For they knew that the raven could see what they could not, that it moved between worlds, carrying messages from the living to the dead, and from the dead to the living. There are stories, too, of ravens appearing at moments of great change, at births and deaths, at the start of journeys and the end of battles. The people believed that the raven could guide the soul to the next world, that it could carry the prayers of the living to the ears of the gods. in the quiet of the night, when the wind rattled the shutters and the fire burned low. The old ones would tell tales of ravens perched on the shoulders of heroes, of ravens leading lost travelers home, of ravens that spoke in dreams and visions. The raven was a creature of paradox, both light and shadow, both hope and warning. It was a reminder that the world was full of mystery, that the line between life and death, between the known and the unknown, was always shifting. To see a raven was to be reminded of the fragility of life, of the power of fate, of the presence, of forces beyond understanding. In the gentle rhythm of daily life, the raven was always there, a silent companion, a watcher at the edge of things. The people left offerings for the ravens, scraps of bread, bits of meat, a gesture of respect, a way of honoring the old beliefs. In return, the ravens watched over the village, their dark eyes missing nothing, their calls echoing through the stillness. There is a quiet comfort in the presence of the raven, a sense that, whatever happens, the world is full of signs, that we are never truly alone. The Vikings lived with this sense of connection, this awareness of the unseen. They listened to the ravens. They watched the skies. They paid attention to the small things, the gentle signs that spoke of fate and fortune. Even now, in the far north, the ravens still fly, their wings beating against the cold air, their calls ringing out across the empty fields. They are a living link to the past, a reminder that the old ways are never truly lost, that the world is still full of mystery, that, if we listen closely, we can still hear the messages carried on black wings. But the story of the raven in Viking superstition is not only one of omens and warnings, it is also a story of companionship, of the bond between people and the wild. In the long winters, when the snow lay deep and the night stretched on, the ravens would come to the edge of the village, drawn by the promise of food. The children would watch them from the doorways, their eyes wide with wonder. Sometimes, a brave child would toss a crust of bread into the snow, and the raven would hop closer, its head cocked, its feathers shining in the pale light. There are tales of ravens that became friends to the people, that followed the hunters into the forest, that waited at the edge of the fields for the plow to turn up worms. In these stories, the raven is not just a symbol, but a living presence, a reminder that the world is full of connections, that every creature has its place, its story, its meaning. The Vikings also believed that the raven could carry messages between worlds, that it could travel where people could not. In times of sorrow, when a loved one was lost, the people would watch for the ravens, hoping for a sign, a message, a glimpse of the soul on its journey. The raven was a guide, a comfort, a promise that the story does not end, but continues in another place, in another form. In the sagas, the great heroes are often accompanied by ravens, their presence a sign of favor, of destiny, of the watchful eyes of the gods. When a warrior fell in battle, it was said that the ravens would carry his spirit to the halls of the ancestors, that they would guide him through the darkness, across the river that separates the worlds, to the place where the old songs are sung and the fires never die. The raven was also a symbol of memory, of the stories that live on after we are gone, in the quiet of the evening, as the fire burns low and the shadows gather. The people would tell the old tales, their voices soft, their hearts full, and the ravens would listen, their eyes bright. In the darkness, their presence a reminder that the past is never truly lost, that the stories live on, carried on black wings through the endless night. To live in the world of the Vikings was to live with the ravens, to watch them, to listen to them, to find meaning in their presence, in their calls, in the patterns of their flight. It was to accept that the world is full of mystery, that the line between the living and the dead, between the known and the unknown, is always shifting, always changing, always alive. So let us remember the ravens, the messengers from the beyond, the silent watchers at the edge of the world. Let us honor their place in the stories of the North. Let us listen for their calls. In the quiet of the night, for in their presence, there is wisdom, there is comfort, there is hope. As the night deepens and the world grows quiet, let us carry the memory of the ravens with us. A gentle reminder that we are all part of the great story, that the world is full of signs, and that, if we watch and listen, we may find our own way home. For in the call of the raven, there is the promise of another dawn, another story, another chance to listen to the whispers of the North. Asterisk. 4. The Veiled Seeresses. Volvas and the art of prophecy. In the hush of a northern evening, when the sky is painted with the last pale colors of the sun, and the world seems to hold its breath, there is a sense that something ancient stirs beneath the surface of things. The air is thick with the scent of wood smoke and moss, and the shadows grow long across the fields. In these quiet hours, the people of the Viking world would sometimes gather, their voices low, their eyes bright with anticipation. For tonight, a Volva would come among them, a Seeresses, a woman of power wrapped in mystery and the old magic. The Volva, in the world of the Vikings, was a figure both revered and feared. She was a wanderer, a wise woman, a keeper of secrets. Her presence was a sign that the boundaries between worlds were thin, that the future might be glimpsed, if only for a moment. She moved through the villages and the wild places, her staff in hand, her cloak heavy with the weight of many winters, her eyes deep as the northern sea. To see a Volva was to feel the hush of awe, the gentle tremor of something greater than oneself. She was not a priestess in the way of temples and altars, but a traveler between worlds, a bridge between the living and the unseen. Her knowledge was not written in books, but carried in memory, in song, in the soft murmur of stories told by the fire. Imagine the longhouse, warm and dim, the fire burning. Lo, the people gathered close, their faces lit by the flicker of flame. The Volva sits at the center, her staff resting across her knees, her hair streaked with silver, her hands marked by the work of many years. She begins to sing, her voice low and rhythmic, a chant that rises and falls like the tide. The words are old, older than memory, older than the stones that mark the fields. The people listen, their hearts beating in time with the song. The air seems to shimmer, the shadows dance. The Volvas, eyes close, and she begins to speak, her words weaving a tapestry of images, of dreams, of things yet to come. She speaks of journeys and storms, of births and deaths, of the turning of the seasons. Her voice is soft, but it carries the weight of fate. The art of prophecy, in the world of the Vikings, was not a matter of certainty, but of possibility. The future was not fixed, but fluid, a river that could be shaped by choice, by courage, by the will of the gods. The Volva did not command the future, but listened for its whispers. She read the signs in the flight of birds, in the patterns of the stars, in the dreams that came in the deep of night. There is a story, told in the old sagas, of a Volva who came to a village on the edge of the sea. The people were troubled. Their crops had failed. Their children were sick. They gathered in the longhouse, their faces drawn with worry. The Volva listened to their fears, her eyes kind, her hands gentle. She sang the old songs. She cast her staff upon the ground. She listened to the wind as it moved through the rafters. And then she spoke, her words a balm, a promise that the darkness would pass, that the sun would return. The people wept, not with fear, but with relief, for in her presence they felt the touch of hope. The Volva's power was not only in her words, but in her presence, in the way she moved through the world. She was a reminder that the unseen is always near, that the world is full of mystery, that the future is a story waiting to be told. She carried with her the tools of her craft, a staff carved with runes, a cloak woven with symbols, a pouch of herbs and stones. each one a key to the doors between. Worlds, in the quiet of the night, when the fire burned low and the wind whispered at the door, the Volva would sometimes dream. Her dreams were not like those of ordinary folk. They were journeys, voyages across the sea of fate. She would wake with the taste of salt on her lips, the sound of distant voices in her ears. She would rise, her heart full, her mind clear, and she would speak the words that needed to be spoken. The people trusted the Volva, but they also feared her, for her knowledge was a double-edged sword. To know the future is to carry a heavy burden. To see what others cannot is to walk a lonely path. The Volva was honored, but she was also set apart, a guest in every home, but never truly at home. She belonged to the world, and to the spaces between worlds there were rituals, gentle and slow, that marked the coming of the Volva. The people would prepare a seat for her, high and covered with soft furs. They would bring her gifts, bread and ale, a piece of silver, a length of fine cloth. They would gather in silence, waiting for her to speak. Her words were not commands, but guidance, a gentle nudge in the right direction, a reminder that the future is shaped by the choices we make. The Volva's songs were a kind of magic, a weaving of sound and silence, of memory and hope. She sang of the old gods, of the spirits of the land, of the ancestors who watched over the living. Her voice was a thread that bound the people to their past, to their future, to the world that lay just beyond the edge of sight. In the world of the Vikings, prophecy was not a matter of spectacle, but of quiet listening, of patience, of trust. The Volva did not claim to know all things, but she listened deeply to the world around her, to the dreams that came in the night, to the stories whispered by the wind. She was a vessel, a conduit, a bridge between what is and what might be. There is a gentle wisdom in the way the Volva moved through the world, a sense of humility, of reverence. She did not seek power for its own sake, but used her gifts to help, to heal, to guide. She was a comfort in times of trouble, a light in the darkness, a reminder that the future is always unfolding, always full of possibility. The art of prophecy was not limited to the Volva alone. In every village, there were those who listened to the world, who watched the flight of birds, who read the patterns in the frost, who dreamed of things yet to come. The Volva was the most skilled, the most honored, but she was not alone. The gift of sight was a thread that ran through the fabric of the North, a quiet presence in the lives of the people. In the gentle rhythm of daily life, the Volva's presence was a blessing, a reminder that the world is full of mystery, that the future is a story waiting to be told. Her songs lingered in the air long after she had gone. Her words echoed in the hearts of those who had heard them. Her wisdom was a light that shone in the darkness, even now, in the quiet places of the North. The memory of the Volva lingers in the old stories, in the songs sung by the fireside, in the dreams that come in the deep of night. She is a reminder that the world is full of unseen things, that the future is always near, always waiting, always ready to be shaped by hope, by courage, by love. So let us remember the Volva, the veiled seeress, the wanderer between worlds. Let us honor her wisdom, her courage, her gentle strength, for in her presence there is comfort, there is hope, there is the promise of another dawn. As the night deepens and the fire burns low, let us carry the memory of the Volva with us, a gentle guide, a quiet strength, a thread of meaning in the tapestry of our days. For in the world of the Vikings, as in our own, the art of prophecy is always waiting, always whispering, always ready to be heard. Let us walk softly, listen closely, and trust in the gentle unfolding of our own stories, for the world is full of signs. Every moment is a chance to listen to the whispers of fate, to the songs of the Volva, to the promise of the future. In the hush of the northern night, as the stars wheel overhead and the world grows still, let us remember that the old ways are never truly lost, that the wisdom of the Volva lives on, in the stories we tell, in the dreams we dream, in the hope that carries us forward, one gentle step at a time. 5. The sacred hearth. Household spirits and everyday magic in the soft glow of early morning. When the world is still wrapped in the hush of sleep, the heart of every Viking home begins to stir. It is not the clang of swords or the roar of the sea that marks the start of the day, but the gentle crackle of the hearth, the slow rising of smoke, the warmth that seeps into the bones of the longhouse. Here, in the quiet center of daily life, the Vikings found comfort, protection, and a touch of the unseen, for the hearth was more than a place for cooking and warmth. It was the dwelling of spirits, the seat of everyday magic, the silent guardian of the home. Imagine a longhouse, its walls thick with turf, its roof heavy with the weight of many winters. The air inside is rich with the scent of wood smoke and bread. The floor is swept clean. The benches are lined with furs. And at the center, the hearth glows, its embers pulsing like the heart of some great, slumbering beast around it. The family gathers, their voices low, their movements gentle, for they know that they are not alone, that the hearth is watched over by beings older than memory, spirits who ask for little, but give much in return. The Vikings believed that every home was inhabited by household spirits, gentle presences who watched over the family, protected the children, and kept misfortune at bay. These spirits were known by many names: Landvedir, Tant, Nis, each with their own stories, their own ways, their own quiet demands. They were not gods, nor were they ghosts, but something in between, a bridge between the world of the living and the world of the unseen. To honor these spirits was to ensure peace and prosperity. To neglect them was to invite trouble. The rituals were simple: a bowl of porridge left by the hearth, a crust of bread tucked into a corner, a whispered word of thanks at the end of the day. These small acts of kindness were the currency of the spirit world, a way of weaving the sacred into the fabric of daily life. In the hush of the evening, as the shadows lengthened and the fire burned low, the old ones would tell stories of the household spirits, their voices soft, their eyes bright with memory. They spoke of the Tumt, the little bearded man who lived behind the woodpile, who wore a red cap and moved unseen through the house. He was a friend to the careful, a helper to the kind, but quick to anger if slighted or ignored. It was said that if the Tumt was pleased, the cows would give rich milk, the fields would yield a bountiful harvest. But if he was offended, the butter would not churn, the tools would break, the luck of the house would turn sour. The children listened wide-eyed, their hearts full of wonder and a little fear. They learned to respect the unseen, to move quietly in the early morning, to leave a bit of their supper for the spirits, to never speak ill of the Tumt, even in jest, for the walls have ears, and the spirits are always listening. The Landvedir, the spirits of the land, were honored in their own way. Before a new house was built, the family would walk the boundaries of the land, offering milk and bread, asking the spirits for their blessing. A stone might be set at the edge of the field, a marker of respect, a promise to care for the earth, to live in harmony with the land. These rituals were not grand or elaborate, but gentle, woven into the rhythm of the seasons, the turning of the days. There is a quiet wisdom in these old ways, a sense that the world is alive, that every place has its spirit, its story, its needs. The Vikings did not see themselves as masters of the land, but as guests, as caretakers, as part of a larger whole. To honor the household spirits was to honor the web of life, to remember that every act, no matter how small, has meaning, has consequence, has the power to shape the world. In the gentle light of the hearth, the family would gather at the end of the day, sharing stories, laughter, and the simple comfort of being together. The fire was a place of warmth, of safety, of connection. It was here that the old songs were sung, the old tales remembered, the wisdom of the ancestors passed down from one Generation to the next, the hearth was the heart of the home, and the spirits who dwelled there were its silent guardians. There are stories of times when the spirits made themselves known. A sudden chill in the air, a shadow that moved where no one walked, a dream that lingered long after waking. The people did not fear these signs, but welcomed them. A reminder that the world is full of mystery, that the old ways are never far away. A gentle nudge to remember, to honor, to give thanks. The magic of the hearth was not the magic of spells and incantations, but the magic of kindness, of attention, of care. It was the magic of a mother's hands, kneading bread in the early morning, of a father's voice, telling stories by the fire, of children's laughter, echoing in the rafters. It was the magic of home, of belonging, of being part of something greater than oneself. In the deep of winter, when the nights were long and the world outside was cold and dark, the hearth was a beacon, a promise of warmth and light. The family would draw close, their faces lit by the glow of the fire, their hearts full of gratitude for the shelter, the food, the company. They would remember the spirits and offer a bit of their meal, a gesture of thanks, a prayer for protection, a hope for another day. The household spirits were not only guardians, but teachers. They reminded the people to be humble, to be generous, to be mindful of the needs of others. They taught that every act of kindness, no matter how small, is a thread in the fabric of the world, that the health of the home depends on the health of the heart, that the greatest magic is the magic of love. Even now, in the quiet places of the north, the memory of the household spirits lingers, in the old stories, in the rituals that survive, in the gentle habits of daily life. A bowl of porridge left on the windowsill, a stone set at the edge of the field, a whispered word of thanks at the end of the day. These are the echoes of the old ways, the gentle reminders that the world is still full of magic, that the spirits are still watching, still waiting, still ready to bless those who remember. So let us honor the sacred hearth, the heart of the home, the dwelling of spirits, the seat of everyday magic. Let us remember the old rituals, the small acts of kindness, the gentle words of thanks. For in these simple things there is wisdom, there is comfort, there is the promise of another dawn. As the fire burns low and the night deepens, let us carry the memory of the household. Spirits with us, a quiet strength, a gentle guide, a thread of meaning in the tapestry of our days. For in the world of the Vikings, as in our own, the magic of the hearth is always waiting, always whispering, always ready to be kindled anew. Let us walk softly, speak gently, and remember that every home is sacred, every hearth a place of magic, every act of kindness a blessing. For the spirits are always near, always watching, always ready to help those who honor the old ways. In the hush of the northern night, as the stars wheel overhead and the world grows still, let us remember that the old ways are never truly lost, that the wisdom of the household spirits lives on, in the stories we tell, in the rituals we keep, in the love that binds us together, one gentle moment at a time. 6. The power of names. Naming taboos and hidden identities in the soft hush of the northern dawn, when the world is still half dreaming and the first light slips quietly through the cracks in the longhouse walls. There is a sense that every sound, every word carries a special weight. The Vikings knew this well, for in their world, names were not just labels, not just a way to call someone across the field or the hearth. Names were living things, woven with power, heavy with meaning, and guarded with care. To speak a name was to summon its spirit, to call forth its history, its hopes, its fears. The Vikings believed that a name was more than a word. It was a thread in the great tapestry of fate, a secret key to the soul. To know a name was to hold a piece of a person's essence, to shape their story, to touch the heart of who they were and who they might become. Imagine a newborn child, swaddled in soft furs, cradled in the arms of her mother. The family gathers close. their faces shining with hope and wonder, but the child is not named at once. For the Vikings believed that the world is full of spirits, both kind and mischievous, and that to name a child too soon is to draw unwanted attention, to invite the gaze of those who might wish harm. And so, for days, sometimes for weeks, the child is simply the little one, a soul waiting for its place in the world when the time is right. The family gathers, the fire burns bright, and the old words are spoken. The child is lifted high. Her name is given, not just as a sound, but as a blessing, a hope, a promise. The name is chosen with care, perhaps to honor an ancestor, perhaps to invoke the strength of a god, perhaps to mark a dream or a vision. The name is whispered, sung, woven into the fabric of the child's life. It is a shield, a guide, a gift. But the power of names does not end with birth. In the world of the Vikings, names could change, could shift like the wind. A child might be given a new name after a great deed. A warrior might take a name to mark a victory. A woman might choose a new name to honor a new beginning. Names were not fixed, but living, growing, changing with the person, with the story. With the turning of the world, there were also names that were never spoken, names that were hidden, kept close to the heart. For to reveal a true name was to give away a piece of oneself, to make oneself vulnerable to the unseen. The Vikings believed that names held magic, that to know a person's true name was to hold power over them. And so, in times of danger, in moments of fear, a person might use a byname, a nickname, a mask to hide behind, a shield against the unknown. In the old stories, there are tales of heroes who guard their names, who speak in riddles, who use clever words to protect themselves from harm. There are stories of witches and wise women who know the secret names of things, who can call the wind, the rain, the fire by speaking the right word, the right name. There are stories of lovers who share their true names in the quiet of the night, a gift of trust, a promise of love. The Vikings also believed that names could shape destiny, that to name a child after a great ancestor was to invite their spirit, to watch over the child, to guide their steps, to lend their strength. But it was also a responsibility, a burden, a hope that the child would live up to the name, would honor the memory, would carry the story forward. Names were a bridge between the past and the future, a way of keeping the old stories alive, of weaving the new into the old. There were taboos, too, gentle rules that shaped the way names were used. It was considered unlucky to name a child after someone who had died a tragic or untimely death. For fear that the fate would follow, it was believed that to speak the name of the dead too often was to disturb their rest, to call them back from the other side. And so, the names of the ancestors were spoken with care, with reverence, with a sense of the sacred in the quiet of the longhouse. As the fire burned low and the night pressed close, the old ones would tell stories of names, of the power they held, of the dangers they carried. They spoke of the gods, whose names were many, whose true names were hidden, known only to the wise. They spoke of the land, whose spirit could be called by the right name, whose favor could be won or lost with a word. The power of names was not just a matter of magic, but of respect, of relationship. To know the name of a thing was to honor it, to see it, to recognize its place in the world. The Vikings named their ships, their swords, their homes, each name a story, a hope, a prayer, a way of weaving the world together, of making the unseen seen, the unknown known. There is a gentle wisdom in these old ways, a sense that the world is alive, that every name is a thread in the great web of life. To speak a name is to take responsibility, to care for the thing named, to honor its story, its spirit, its place. In the world, the Vikings understood that words have power, that names are not to be used lightly, that to name a thing is to enter into a relationship, a promise, a bond, even now. In the quiet places of the north, the old names linger. In the stones that mark the fields, in the rivers that wind through the land, in the stories that are told by the fire, there are names that are never spoken, names that are whispered only. In dreams, names that carry the weight of centuries, the hope of generations, the promise of another dawn. So let us honor the power of names, the magic they hold, the stories they carry. Let us remember the old taboos, the gentle rules, the hidden names, the whispered words. For in these simple things, there is wisdom, there is comfort, there is the promise of belonging. As the fire burns low and the night deepens, let us carry the memory of the old names with us. A quiet strength, a gentle guide, a thread of meaning in the tapestry of our days. For in the world of the Vikings, as in our own, the power of names is always waiting, always whispering, always ready to be honored anew. Let us walk softly, speak gently, and remember that every name is sacred, every word a blessing, every story a gift. For the world is full of names, and every name is a doorway, a promise, a hope. In the hush of the northern night, as the stars wheel overhead and the world grows still, let us remember that the old ways are never truly lost, that the wisdom of names lives on in the stories we tell, in the words we speak, in the love that binds us together, one gentle moment at a time. 7. The luck of the troll cross, iron, charms, and protection in the gentle hush of twilight. As the last golden light slips behind the hills, and the world settles into the soft embrace of evening, the people of the north turn their thoughts to the unseen, to the quiet dangers that linger at the edges of the known. In the Viking world, the night is not just a time for rest, but a time for caution. For the world is alive with spirits, with shadows, with things that move in the darkness. And so, the people turn to their charms, their amulets, their quiet rituals of protection. Among these, none is more beloved, more quietly powerful than the troll cross, a simple loop of iron, bent into a shape that is both circle and knot, both shield and snare. It is a charm born of the old stories, the old fears, the old hope that, with the right token, the right gesture, one might keep the darkness at bay. Imagine a small farmstead, nestled at the edge of a deep forest. The air is cool, scented with pine and earth. The long shadows of evening stretch across the fields. Inside the house, the family gathers, their voices low, their movements gentle. At the door, above the hearth, at the neck of a child, hangs a small piece of iron, twisted into the shape of the troll cross. It catches the last light of day, a quiet promise of safety, a silent guardian against the things that walk in the night. The Vikings believed that iron was a metal of power, a gift from the earth, strong and unyielding. It was said that the spirits of the wild, the trolls, the elves, the hidden folk, could not bear the touch of iron, that it burned them, drove them away. And so, to carry a piece of iron was to carry a shield, a barrier between oneself and the unseen. The troll cross is more than just a piece of metal. It is a story, a memory, a hope. It is made by hand, shaped with care, often by the oldest member of the family, or by the village smith, whose hands know the secrets of fire and forge. The making of a troll cross is a ritual in itself, a quiet act of faith, a way of weaving protection into the fabric of daily life. There are stories, told in the hush of evening, of times when the troll cross has turned aside misfortune, when a child lost in the woods found her way home, guided by the glint of iron at her neck, when a storm broke over the fields, but the house stood safe, the troll cross shining in the rain, when sickness passed by, when quarrels faded, when peace returned. The people do not claim to understand the magic, but they trust it, they honor it. They pass it down from one generation to the next. The troll cross is not the only charm in the Viking world. There are many, each with its own story, its own power. A sprig of rowan, tied with red thread, to keep away the evil eye, a pouch of salt, hidden in the folds of a cloak, to purify and protect, a carved piece of bone, a feather, a stone, each one a token, a promise, a hope. The people carry these charms with them, in their pockets, around their necks, sewn into the hems of their clothes. They are small, almost invisible, but they are the heartbeat of daily life, a way of weaving the sacred into the ordinary. In the quiet of the night, as the wind moves through the trees and the fire burns low, the old ones tell stories of the things that live in the wild. The trolls, the huldra, the spirits who watch from the shadows. They are not always evil, but they are unpredictable, capricious, quick to anger if slighted, quick to help if honored. The people learn to move with care, to speak with respect, to leave a bit of bread at the edge of the field, a bowl of milk at the door, a gesture of goodwill, a hope for peace. The troll cross is a symbol of this relationship, a reminder that the world is full of mystery, that the line between the seen and the unseen is always shifting, always alive. To wear a troll cross is to walk with humility, to remember that we are guests in the world, that every step is a negotiation, a dance with fate, a hope for kindness. There is a gentle wisdom in these old ways, a sense that protection is not just a matter of strength, but of attention, of care, of respect. The troll cross is not a weapon, but a shield, a promise to move gently, to honor the spirits, to remember the old stories, the old fears, the old hopes. Even now, in the quiet places of the north, the troll cross is still made, still worn, still honored. It hangs above the doors of old houses. It is given to children as they set out into the world. It is carried by travelers, by dreamers, by those who remember. It is a thread that binds the present to the past, a gentle reminder that the world is still full of magic, still full of danger, still full of hope. So let us honor the luck of the troll cross, the power of iron, the magic of charms. Let us remember the old rituals, the small acts of protection, the gentle words of thanks. For in these simple things, there is wisdom, there is comfort, there is the promise of another dawn. As the fire burns low and the night deepens, let us carry the memory of the troll cross with us, a quiet strength, a gentle guide, a thread of meaning in the tapestry of our days. For in the world of the Vikings, as in our own, the magic of protection is always waiting, always whispering, always ready to be kindled anew. Let us walk softly, speak gently, and remember that every charm is a story, every token a hope, every act of care a blessing. For the spirits are always near, always watching, always ready to help those who honor the old ways. In the hush of the northern night, as the stars wheel overhead and the world grows still, let us remember that the old ways are never truly lost, that the wisdom of the troll cross lives on, in the stories we tell, in the rituals we keep, in the love that binds us together, one gentle moment at a time. 8. The dreaming mind, nightmares, visions, and the spirit world in the deep hush of the northern night, when the world is wrapped in a blanket of silence, and the only sound is the soft sigh of the wind through the trees. The Vikings would close their eyes and drift into the realm of dreams. It is a place both familiar and strange, a landscape shaped by memory and longing, by hope and fear, by the gentle touch of the unseen. In this world, the boundaries between the living and the spirit world grow thin, and the mind becomes a vessel for visions, for messages, for the quiet wisdom of the night. The longhouse is dark, the fire has burned low, the embers glow softly, casting gentle shadows on the walls. The family sleeps close together, their breaths rising and falling in a slow, steady rhythm outside. The night is deep and endless. The stars wheel overhead, silent and watchful. In this quiet, the dreaming mind awakens, slipping free from the weight of the day, wandering into the spaces where stories are born. For the Vikings, dreams were not just the idle wanderings of a tired mind. They were messages, omens, glimpses into the world beyond. To dream was to travel, to journey through the hidden places of the soul, to meet with spirits, with ancestors, with the old gods who watched over the world. The dream was a bridge, a path that led from the warmth of the hearth to the cold, mysterious lands of the unseen. There is a gentle reverence in the way the Vikings spoke of dreams, a sense that the night is alive with meaning, that every vision, every nightmare, every fleeting image is a thread in the great tapestry of fate. The old ones would say that the soul leaves the body in sleep, wandering far and wide, gathering wisdom, seeking answers, returning at dawn with stories to tell. Imagine a young woman, her hair spread like a river across her pillow, her face peaceful in the glow of the dying fire. She dreams of a great tree, its branches reaching up to the stars, its roots winding deep into the earth. She hears the voices of her ancestors, calling her name. She sees a path winding through the forest, a path she must follow. When she wakes, her heart is full of wonder, of fear, of hope. She tells her dream to her mother, who listens with care, who nods and smiles, who knows that the dream is a gift, a message, a promise. The Vikings believed that some dreams were sent by the gods, that they carried warnings, or blessings, or gentle reminders. A dream of a storm might mean trouble ahead. A dream of a bright, clear sky might mean peace. A dream of a lost loved one might be a visit from the spirit world, a chance to say goodbye or to ask for guidance. The dream was a language, a way of speaking to the unseen, of listening to the quiet voice of fate. But not all dreams are gentle. There are nightmares, too, dark and tangled, full of shadows and fear. The Vikings called these dreams Mara, the night mare, a spirit that sits on the chest of the sleeper, pressing down, stealing the breath, filling the mind with terror. To wake from such a dream is to feel the weight of the night, the chill of the unknown, the lingering touch of something not quite seen. The people had ways of protecting themselves. From nightmares, gentle rituals, small acts of care. A sprig of juniper hung above the bed, a charm of iron at the door, a whispered prayer before sleep. The old ones would tell stories of the Mara, of how she slips through the cracks in the walls, how she can be turned away with kindness, with respect, with the right words spoken in the right way. There is a quiet wisdom in these old beliefs, a sense that the world is full of mystery, that the night is not just a time for rest, but a time for listening, for learning, for opening the heart to the gentle touch of the unseen. The Vikings did not fear the night, but honored it. They saw in the darkness a place of possibility, a place where the soul could wander, where the spirit could speak. In the morning, as the first light crept into the longhouse, the family would gather by the hearth, sharing their dreams, their visions, their fears. The old ones would listen, their eyes bright with memory, their voices soft with wisdom. They would help to interpret the dreams, to find the meaning hidden in the images, to offer comfort or warning or hope. The dream was not a private thing, but a gift to be shared, a story to be woven into the fabric of daily life. There are stories told in the hush of evening, of dreams that changed the course of a life, of visions that led a hero to greatness, or saved a village from disaster. There are stories of dreams that brought healing, that mended broken hearts, that offered a glimpse of the world to come. The Vikings believed that to dream was to be touched by the gods, to be chosen, if only for a moment, to carry a message, to hold a piece of the mystery. The spirit world was never far from the minds of the Vikings. It was a place of wonder, of danger, of beauty. They believed that the spirits of the dead lingered near, watching over the living, offering guidance, or warning, or comfort. The dream was a place where these spirits could be met, where the boundaries between worlds grew thin, where the living and the dead could speak, if only for a moment, in the quiet of the night, as the fire burned low and the world grew still. The Vikings would sometimes feel the presence of the unseen, A gentle touch on the shoulder, a whisper in the ear, a sense that they were not alone. They honored these moments. They listened. They remembered. They carried the wisdom of the night into the light of day. The dreaming mind is a gentle thing, a vessel for hope, for fear, for longing. It is a place where the soul can wander, where the heart can heal, where the spirit can find its way. The Vikings understood this. They honored the dream. They listened to its messages. They wove its stories into the fabric of their lives. Even now, in the quiet places of the north, the old beliefs linger, in the stories told by the fire, in the gentle rituals of sleep, in the dreams that come in the deep of night. There is a sense that the world is still full of mystery, that the spirit world is never far away, that the dreaming mind is a gift, a blessing, a hope. So let us honor the dreaming mind, the gentle wisdom of the night, the quiet touch of the unseen. Let us remember the old rituals, the small acts of care, the stories shared by the hearth. For in these simple things, there is comfort, there is hope, there is the promise of another dawn as the fire burns low and the night deepens. Let us carry the memory of the dreams with us, a quiet strength, a gentle guide, a thread of meaning in the tapestry of our days. For in the world of the Vikings, as in our own, the magic of the dreaming mind is always waiting, always whispering, always ready to be honored anew. Let us walk softly, sleep gently, and remember that every dream is a story, every vision a hope, every nightmare a lesson. For the spirit world is always near, always watching, always ready to speak to those who listen. In the hush of the northern night, as the stars wheel overhead and the world grows still, let us remember that the old ways are never truly lost, that the wisdom of the dreaming mind lives on, in the stories we tell, in the dreams we dream, in the love that binds us together, one gentle night at a time. And as you close your eyes and drift into sleep, may you find comfort in the gentle touch of the unseen. May your dreams be filled with hope, with wisdom, with the quiet promise of another day. For the world is full of mystery, and the dreaming mind is its gentle guide. 9. The ritual of the Blot. Offerings to the old gods in the gentle hush of the northern countryside, where the fields stretch wide beneath a sky of endless blue, and the forests stand tall and silent. The people of the Viking world move with a quiet reverence, their lives shaped by the turning of the seasons, the rhythm of the earth, the slow dance of sun and moon. In this world, every harvest, every hunt, every journey is touched by the unseen, by the old gods who watch from the shadows, who whisper in the wind, who wait for the gifts of their children. The ritual of the Blot is not a thing of spectacle, but of gentle devotion, a way of weaving the sacred into the fabric of daily life. It is a time for gathering, for remembering, for giving thanks. The word itself means sacrifice, but in the world of the Vikings, it is a word of hope, of gratitude, of connection, a way of honoring the old gods, the spirits of the land, the ancestors who walk beside the living. Imagine a small village, nestled at the edge of a deep green forest. The air is cool and sweet, scented with pine and earth. The people gather in the clearing, their faces bright with anticipation, their hands full of gifts, a loaf of bread, a bowl of honey, a cup of mead. The children run and laugh, their voices rising like birdsong. The elders stand together, there, eyes shining with memory, with pride, with the quiet wisdom of many years. At the center of the clearing stands an altar, simple and strong, built of stone and wood, draped with cloth, adorned with flowers, with branches, with the tokens of the season. Here, the people place their offerings, their gifts to the old gods, to the spirits who dwell in the earth, in the water, in the sky. The gifts are simple, but given with care, with love, with the hope that the world will be kind, that the harvest will be plentiful, that the journey will be safe. The ritual begins with song, a gentle melody that rises and falls like the wind through the trees. The people sing together, their voices weaving a tapestry of sound, a prayer, a promise, a hope. The song is old, older than memory, older than the stones that mark the fields. It is a song of gratitude, of longing, of belonging, a way of calling the old gods, of inviting them to share in the feast, to bless the people, to watch over the land. The offerings are given with open hands, with open hearts, a piece of bread, a sip of mead, a handful of grain, each gift a thread in the web of life, a way of saying thank you, of remembering that the world is full of mystery, full of wonder, full of the unseen. The people do not ask for favors, but offer what they have, what they can spare, what they hold most dear. It is a gentle act, a quiet moment of connection, a way of weaving the sacred into the ordinary. The old gods are many, each with their own stories, their own ways, their own gentle demands. There is Odin, the wise wanderer, who seeks knowledge, who values sacrifice, who walks the world in disguise. There is Freya, the goddess of love and beauty, who brings fertility, who blesses the fields, who watches over the home. There is Thor, the thunderer, who protects the people, who brings rain, who drives away the darkness. There are the spirits of the land, the elves, the hidden folk, the ancestors who linger near, each one honored, each one remembered, each one given a place at the table. The ritual of the Blot is not just for the gods, but for the people. It is a time for gathering, for sharing, for remembering. The feast that follows is a celebration, a time of laughter, of stories, of song. The people eat together, their hearts full, their spirits light. They remember the old tales, the old songs, the old ways. They honor the past. They look to the future. They find comfort in the gentle rhythm of the seasons. In the turning of the world, there is a quiet wisdom in these old rituals, a sense that the world is alive, that every act of giving is an act of hope, of trust, of love. The offerings are not grand, but they are given with care, with attention, with the hope that the world will be kind, that the gods will be pleased, that the spirits will watch over the home, the field, the hearth, in the hush of the evening. As the sun slips behind the hills and the sky is painted with the colors of dusk, the people gather once more, their voices low, their hearts full. They thank the old gods, the spirits, the ancestors. They offer a final gift, a final song, a final hope. They return to their homes, their hearts light, their spirits at peace. The world is full of mystery, but it is also full of comfort, of connection, of the gentle touch of the unseen. The ritual of the Blot is not a thing of fear, but of love, of gratitude, of belonging. It is a way of remembering that the world is full of gifts, that every day is a blessing, that every moment is a chance to give thanks, to honor the old gods, to weave the sacred into the fabric of daily life. Even now, in the quiet places of the north, the memory of the Blot lingers, in the stories told by the fire, in the songs sung at the turning of the year, in the gentle rituals of giving, of sharing, of remembering. There is a sense that the world is still full of mystery, that the old gods are never far away, that the ritual of the Blot is a thread that binds the present to the past, the living to the unseen. So let us honor the ritual of the Blot, the gentle act of giving, the quiet moment of connection. Let us remember the old songs, the old stories, the old ways, for in these simple things there is wisdom, there is comfort, there is the promise of another dawn. As the fire burns low and the night deepens, let us carry the memory of the Blot with us, a quiet strength, a gentle guide, a thread of meaning in the tapestry of our days. For in the world of the Vikings, as in our own, the magic of giving is always waiting, always whispering, always ready. To be kindled anew, let us walk softly, give gently, and remember that every offering is a blessing, every act of gratitude a hope, every moment of connection a gift. For the old gods are always near, always watching, always ready to bless those who remember the old ways. In the hush of the northern night, as the stars wheel overhead and the world grows still, let us remember that the old ways are never truly lost, that the wisdom of the Blot lives on in the stories we tell, in the rituals we keep, in the love that binds us together, one gentle moment at a time. 10. The weather-wise. Signs in the sky and sea in the quiet hours before dawn, when the world is still wrapped in the soft blue of night. The people of the north rise slowly, their movements gentle, their hearts tuned to the subtle rhythms of the land. The sky and the sea, in the world of the Vikings, to live was to listen, to watch, to learn the language of the world, for the weather was not just a backdrop, not just a force to be endured, but a living presence, a spirit that shaped every day, every journey, every hope and fear. The Vikings were weather-wise, their eyes trained to the shifting clouds, the changing winds, the dance of light on water. They knew that the sky is a storyteller, that the sea is a keeper of secrets, that the world is full of signs. If only one knows how to see, to listen, to wait, in this gentle art, there is no hurry, no rush, only the slow unfolding of meaning, the quiet gathering of wisdom, the patient trust in the old ways. Imagine a small village, nestled at the edge of a wide fjord. The air is cool and sweet, scented with salt and pine. The houses huddle close together, their roofs heavy with dew. The people step outside, their faces turned to the sky, their eyes searching the horizon. They watch the clouds, the color of the dawn, the flight of birds, the ripple of wind across the water. Every detail is a message, a whisper from the world, a clue to what the day will bring. The old ones are the first to speak, their voices soft, their words slow and careful. They remember the signs, the patterns, the stories passed down from one generation to the next. A red sky at morning, a warning of storms, a ring around the moon, a sign of rain, the call of the gulls, the way the sheep huddle together, the scent of the air, each one a thread in the web of meaning, a piece of the puzzle, a hope for safety, for plenty, for peace. The Vikings believed that the weather was alive, that it was shaped by the moods of the gods, by the spirits of the land and sea. To watch the weather was to listen for the voice of the unseen, to honor the power that moves through the world, to find one's place in the great dance of sun and wind and rain. The weather was not an enemy, but a teacher, a guide, a gentle reminder that the world is full of mystery, full of beauty, full of the unknown. At sea, the weather is everything. The sailors rise before the sun, their faces turned to the sky, their hearts full of hope and fear. They watch the clouds, the color of the water, the way the wind moves through the sails. They listen to the creak of the ship, the call of the birds, the distant rumble of thunder. Every sound, every sight, every scent is a message, a warning, a promise. The sea is a living thing, full of moods, full of secrets, full of the old magic. There are stories, told in the hush of evening, of sailors who could read the weather like a book, who knew the signs, the omens, the gentle warnings, a sudden stillness in the air, a line of dark clouds on the horizon, the way the dolphins leap, the way the fish move, each one a clue, a hope, a fear. The weather is a puzzle, a riddle, a song, and the wise know how to listen, how to wait, how to trust. The sky is a canvas, painted with the colors of the world, the soft gold of morning, the deep blue of noon, the fiery red of sunset, the gentle silver of moonlight. The Vikings watched the sky with reverence, with wonder, with a sense of belonging. They saw in the clouds the shapes of the old gods, the stories of the past, the promise of the future. They learned to read the sky, to find their way by the stars, to trust in the gentle wisdom of the world. In the fields, the farmers watched the weather with careful eyes, their lives shaped by the turning of the seasons, the coming of the rain, the warmth of the sun, They know that the weather is a gift, a blessing, a hope, but also a danger, a challenge, a test. They plant their seeds with prayers, with songs, with the hope that the world will be kind, that the harvest will be plentiful, that the spirits of the land will smile. There are rituals, gentle and slow, that mark the changing of the weather, the turning of the year. The people gather, their voices low, their hearts full. They offer gifts to the old gods, to the spirits of the sky and sea. A bowl of milk, a loaf of bread, a song, a prayer, a hope. They ask for rain, for sun, for gentle winds, for safety on the sea, for peace in the fields. The rituals are simple, but they are woven with care, with love, with the quiet trust in the old ways. The weather is a storyteller, a keeper of memory, a weaver of fate. The Vikings listened to its stories, learned its language, honored its power. They knew that the world is full of signs, that every cloud, every breeze, every drop of rain is a message, a gift, a hope. They learned to move with the weather, to bend, to yield, to trust in the gentle wisdom of the world, in the quiet of the night. As the wind moves through the trees and the stars wheel overhead, the people gather by the fire, their voices soft, their hearts full. They tell stories of storms and sunshine, of journeys and homecomings, of the gentle touch of the weather. The old ones remember the great storms, the gentle rains, the long, bright days of summer, the deep, quiet nights of winter. They remember the signs, the omens, the gentle warnings. They pass their wisdom to the young, a gift, a hope, a promise. There is a gentle beauty in these old ways, a sense that the world is alive, that every moment is a chance to listen, to learn, to find one's place in the great dance of the world. The weather is not a thing to be feared, but a thing to be honored, to be trusted, to be loved. The Vikings understood this. They lived with the weather, moved with it, learned from it, found comfort in its rhythms, its stories, its gentle touch. Even now, in the quiet places of the north, the old wisdom lingers. In the way the people watch the sky, in the way they listen to the wind, in the stories they tell by the fire, there is a sense that the world is still full of signs, that the weather is still a storyteller, a guide, a friend. The old ways are never truly lost. They live on in the gentle habits of daily life, in the quiet trust in the world, in the hope that every day brings. So let us honor the weatherwise, the gentle art of listening, the quiet wisdom of the sky and sea. Let us remember the old signs, the old stories, the old ways. For in these simple things, there is comfort, there is hope, there is the promise of another dawn. As the fire burns low, and the night deepens, let us carry the memory of the weatherwise with us. A quiet strength, a gentle guide, a thread of meaning in the tapestry of our days. For in the world of the Vikings, as in our own, the magic of the weather is always waiting, always whispering, always ready to be honored anew. Let us walk softly, listen gently, and remember that every cloud is a story, every breeze a hope, every drop of rain a blessing. For the sky and the sea are always near, always watching, always ready to speak to those who listen. In the hush of the northern night, as the stars wheel overhead and the world grows still, let us remember that the old ways are never truly lost, that the wisdom of the weatherwise lives on, in the stories we tell, in the rituals we keep, in the love that binds us together. One gentle moment at a time. 11. The shadow of the Draugr. Ghosts, restless dead, and burial rites in the deep stillness of the northern night, when the world is wrapped in a blanket of mist, and the only sound is the soft sigh of the wind through the grass. The people of the Viking world would sometimes pause, their hearts quiet, their thoughts turning to those who had gone before. For in this land of long shadows and ancient stones, the boundary between the living and the dead is thin, a veil as delicate as the morning fog, and the stories of the restless dead drift through the air like the scent of wood smoke. The Vikings called them Draugr, the ones who linger, the ones who cannot rest. They are not monsters in the way of wild beasts, nor are they simply memories. They are something in between. A presence felt in the hush of the night, a shadow at the edge of the firelight, a whisper in the wind, the Draugr or the Restless. Dead, souls who have not found peace, who wander the earth in search of something lost, something left undone. Imagine a small village, nestled at the edge of a dark forest, the houses huddled close together, their doors barred against the night. The people gather by the hearth, their voices low, their eyes bright with the memory of old stories. They speak of the Draugr, of the signs that one is near, a sudden chill in the air, a shadow that moves where no one walks, a dream that lingers long after waking. The people do not speak in fear, but in respect, in reverence, in the quiet hope that the old rituals will keep the restless dead at bay. The Vikings believed that the dead must be honored, remembered, cared. For to neglect the dead was to invite trouble, to risk the peace of the living. And so, the burial rites are gentle, careful, woven with love and hope and the quiet wisdom of many years. When a person dies, the family gathers, their hearts heavy, their hands gentle. They wash the body, dress it in fine clothes, place tokens of love and memory at its side, a ring, a tsia, comb, a piece of cloth, a small stone, each one a thread in the web of remembrance. The burial is a time of song, of story, of gentle tears. The people carry the body to the grave, their steps slow, their voices low. They speak the old words, the words of blessing, of farewell, of hope. The grave is lined with furs, with flowers, with the gifts of the earth. The body is laid to rest. The earth is closed. The people stand together, their hearts full, their spirits lightened by the act of remembrance, the act of love. But sometimes the dead do not rest. Sometimes a soul lingers, caught between worlds, unable to let go, unable to move on. The Draugr is not a thing of horror, but of sorrow, of longing, of unfinished business. The people believe that the Draugr returns for a reason, to right a wrong, to deliver a message, to seek forgiveness, to find peace. The presence of the Draugr is a sign that something is out of balance, that the web of life has been disturbed. There are gentle rituals to help the restless dead find peace. A candle lit at the window, a bowl of milk left at the door, a song sung in the quiet of the night. The people remember the old stories, the old ways. They speak the names of the dead with care, with love, with the hope that the soul will hear, will find comfort, will move on to the next world. The rituals are simple, but they are woven with meaning, with hope, with the quiet trust in the power of remembrance. The Draugr is not always a thing of fear. Sometimes it is a guide, a messenger, a gentle presence in the night. There are stories of the Draugr who returns to warn the living of danger, to offer advice, to share wisdom. The people listen. They remember. They honor the message. They find comfort in the knowledge that the dead are never far away, that the bonds of love and memory are stronger than the veil between worlds. In the Yawls, quiet of the night, as the fire burns low and the shadows gather, the people tell stories of the old burial mounds, the great stones that mark the resting places of the ancestors. They speak of the spirits who watch over the land, who guard the fields, who bless the home. The burial mounds are places of power, of memory, of connection. The people visit them with care, with respect, with the hope that the spirits will be kind, will watch over the living, will keep the world in balance. The burial rites are not just for the dead, but for the living. They are a way of saying goodbye, of letting go, of finding peace. The rituals are gentle, slow, woven with song and story and the quiet touch of love. The people remember the old words, the old songs, the old ways. They find comfort in the act of remembrance, in the knowledge that the dead are never truly gone, that their stories live on in the hearts of the living, in the stones that mark the fields, In the gentle rhythm of the world, there is a quiet wisdom in these old beliefs, a sense that the world is full of mystery, that the line between life and death is thin, that the dead are never far away. The Vikings do not fear the Draugr, but honor it. They listen to its message, they remember its story. They find comfort in the knowledge that the world is full of connections, full of love, full of hope. Even now, in the quiet places of the north, the old stories linger, in the stones that mark the fields, in the songs sung by the fire, in the gentle rituals of remembrance. There is a sense that the world is still full of mystery, that the dead are still near, that the old ways are never truly lost. They live on in the gentle habits of daily life, in the quiet trust in the world, in the hope that every day brings. So let us honor the shadow of the Draugr, the gentle presence of the restless dead, the quiet wisdom of the burial rites. Let us remember the old stories, the old songs, the old ways, for in these simple things there is comfort, there is hope, there is the promise of another dawn. As the fire burns low and the night deepens, let us carry the memory of the Draugr with us, a quiet strength, a gentle guide, a thread of meaning in the tapestry of our days. For in the world of the Vikings, as in our own, the magic of remembrance is always waiting, always whispering, always ready to be honored anew. Let us walk softly, remember gently, and honor the dead with love, with care, with the quiet hope that the world is full of connections, full of stories, full of the gentle touch of the unseen. In the hush of the northern night, as the stars wheel overhead and the world grows still, let us remember that the old ways are never truly lost, that the wisdom of the Draugr lives on, in the stories we tell, in the rituals we keep, in the love that binds us together, one gentle moment at a time. 12. The web of Wyrd, fate, destiny, and the Norns in the quiet hours before dawn, when the world is still wrapped in the soft embrace of night, and the first light has not yet touched the hills. The people of the north would sometimes sit in silence, their thoughts drifting like mist across the fields. In these moments, when the air is thick with dreams and the hush of the world is deep, the Vikings would remember the old stories, the stories of fate, of destiny, of the great web that binds all things together. They called it the web of Wyrd, a tapestry woven by unseen hands, a pattern that stretches from the beginning of time to the end. Every life, every choice, every hope and fear, a thread in the great design. The Vikings did not see fate as a chain, but as a weaving, a living thing, shaped by the hands of the Norns, the mysterious women who sit at the roots of the great tree Yggdrasil, spinning, measuring, cutting the threads of life. Imagine a small village nestled at the edge of a wide river, the houses huddled close together, their roofs heavy with dew. The people rise slowly, their hearts full of hope and worry. They know that the day will bring its own joys and sorrows, its own gifts and challenges. They trust in the web, in the gentle wisdom of the Norns, in the quiet strength of the world. The Norns are three: Wyrd, Verdandi, and Skuld, the past, the present, and the future. They sit together in the shadow of the great tree, their hands busy, their eyes bright with the light of many worlds. Wyrd remembers, her fingers tracing the old stories, the memories of what has been. Verdandi lives in the moment, her hands weaving the present, shaping the world as it unfolds. Skuld looks to what is yet to come, her eyes full of possibility, her scissors sharp, ready to cut the thread when the time is right. The Vikings believed that every life is a thread in the web, that every choice, every word, every act of kindness or cruelty is woven into the pattern. Nothing is lost, nothing is wasted. Everything has its place, its meaning, its echo in the world. To live well is to honor the web, to move with care, with attention, with the quiet hope that one's thread will be strong, will be beautiful, will add to the harmony of the whole. There is a gentle wisdom in these old beliefs, a sense that the world is alive, that fate is not a thing to be feared, but a thing to be honored, to be trusted, to be loved. The Vikings did not see themselves as powerless, but as part of something greater, something mysterious, something full of hope. They knew that the web is always changing, always growing, always alive, that every day is a chance to shape the pattern, to add a new thread, a new color, a new story. In the quiet of the longhouse, as the fire burns low and the shadows gather, the people tell stories of the Norns, of the web, of the way fate moves through the world. They speak of heroes who meet their destiny with courage, of lovers whose threads are woven together, of children whose lives are full of promise. They remember the old words, the old songs, the old ways. They find comfort in the knowledge that the web is strong, that the Norns are wise, that the world is full of meaning. The Norns are not distant, not cold, but close, present, attentive. They listen to the prayers of the living. They watch over the world. They care for the web. They mend the broken threads. They add new ones. They shape the pattern with love, with patience, with the quiet strength of the earth. The Vikings honor the Norns with song, with story, with the gentle rituals of daily life. They offer gifts at the roots of the old trees. They whisper prayers in the hush of the night. They trust in the web, in the wisdom of the world. There are stories, told in the hush of evening, of times when the web is tested, when the threads are stretched thin, when sorrow and loss threaten to unravel the pattern. In these moments, the people remember the Norns. They remember that every sorrow is part of the story, that every loss is woven into the whole, that the web is strong, that it can bear the weight of the world. They find comfort in the knowledge that nothing is lost, that every thread is remembered, that every life is honored. The web of fate is not a thing of fear, but a thing of beauty, a thing of hope. It is a reminder that the world is full of connections, full of stories, full of the gentle touch of the unseen. The Vikings live with this knowledge. They move with care, with attention, with the quiet trust that the web will hold, that the Norns will guide, that the world is full of meaning. Even now, in the quiet places of the north, the old stories linger, in the stones that mark the fields, in the songs sung by the fire, in the gentle rituals of remembrance. There is a sense that the world is still full of mystery, that the web is still strong, that the Norns are still watching, still weaving, still caring for the world. So let us honor the web of Wyrd, the gentle wisdom of fate, the quiet strength of the Norns. Let us remember the old stories, the old songs, the old ways. For in these simple things there is comfort, there is hope, there is the promise of another dawn. As the fire burns low and the night deepens, let us carry the memory of the web with us, a quiet strength, a gentle guide, a thread of meaning in the tapestry of our days. For in the world of the Vikings, as in our own, the magic of fate is always waiting, always whispering, always ready to be honored anew. Let us walk softly, trust gently, and remember that every life is a thread, every story a color, every moment a chance to add to the beauty of the world. For the web is always near, always growing, always ready to hold us in its gentle embrace. In the hush of the northern night, as the stars wheel overhead and the world grows still, let us remember that the old ways are never truly lost, that the wisdom of the Norns lives on in the stories we tell, in the rituals we keep, in the love that binds us together, one gentle moment at a time. 13. The quiet power of women, magic, healing, and herbal lore in the gentle hush of the northern morning, when the world is still wrapped in the soft embrace of mist and the first light slips quietly through the trees. There is a sense that something ancient stirs beneath the surface of things. The air is cool, scented with dew and wildflowers. The grass glistens with the memory of night, and the village begins to wake in this quiet hour before the bustle of the day. The women of the Viking world move softly through their homes, Their gardens, their fields, their hands gentle, their hearts full of the old wisdom. The power of women in the Viking world is not a thing of noise or spectacle, but a thing of quiet strength, of patience, of care. It is a power woven into the fabric of daily life, a thread that binds the family, the village, the world together. The women are the keepers of the hearth, the healers of the sick, the guardians of memory, the weavers of fate. Their magic is not always seen, but it is always felt, a gentle presence, a steady hand, a voice that soothes, that guides, that remembers. Imagine a small house, its walls thick with turf, its roof heavy with the weight of many winters. Inside, the air is warm, rich with the scent of bread and herbs. The fire burns low, casting a soft glow on the faces of the family. The mother moves quietly, her hands busy, her eyes bright with love. She stirs the pot, kneads the dough, tends the children. Her movements are a kind of magic, a weaving of care and hope and the quiet wisdom of many years. In the world of the Vikings, women are the healers, the wise women, the keepers of the old ways. They know the secrets of the earth, the power of the plants, the gentle art of healing. Their knowledge is not written in books, but carried in memory, in song, in the soft murmur of stories told by the fire. They gather the herbs in the early morning, their baskets full of yarrow and chamomile, of sage and thyme, of nettle and juniper, each plant a friend, a teacher, a gift from the earth. The women know which herbs to use for fever, which for pain, which to ease the heart, which to calm the mind. They make teas and salves, poultices and tinctures, their hands gentle, their touch sure. They tend the sick with patience, with kindness, with the quiet hope that the world will be kind, that the spirits of the land will bless their work. Their healing is not just of the body, but of the heart, the mind, the soul. A gentle touch, a kind word, a song sung in the hush of the night. There are stories, told in the hush of evening, of women who heal with a glance, with a word, with a song. Their power is not a thing of force, but of presence, of attention, of love. They are the midwives, the ones who guide new life into the world, who comfort the dying, who hold the hands of those who are lost. Their wisdom is a light in the darkness, a thread of hope in the tapestry of the world. The magic of women is not just in healing, but in the quiet rituals of daily life, in the weaving of cloth, in the baking of bread, in the telling of stories, in the singing of songs. Every act is a prayer, a blessing, a hope. The women weave charms into the clothing of their children, a sprig of rowan, a knot of red thread, a whispered word of protection. They mark the doors with signs, they sweep the hearth with care. They leave offerings for the spirits, a bowl of milk, a piece of bread, a gentle reminder that the world is full of mystery, full of the unseen. The garden, the women move with care, their hands gentle, their eyes bright. They know the language of the plants, the way the leaves turn in the wind, the way the flowers open to the sun. They speak to the earth, to the spirits of the land. They ask for blessings, for guidance, for peace. Their gardens are places of power, of beauty, of hope, a living reminder that the world is full of gifts, full of the gentle touch of the unseen. The women are the keepers of memory, the tellers of stories, the singers of songs. They remember the old tales, the old songs, the old ways. They pass their wisdom to the young, a gift, a hope, a promise, in the quiet of the night. As the fire burns low and the shadows gather, the women tell stories of the past, of the ancestors, of the spirits who watch over the land. Their voices are soft, their words slow and careful. Their stories are a thread that binds the family, the village, the world together. There is a gentle wisdom in these old ways, a sense that the world is alive, that every act of care is a blessing, every word a prayer, every story a gift. The women do not seek power for its own sake, but use their gifts to help, to heal, to guide. Their magic is a quiet thing, a thing of presence, of attention, of love. It is a magic that weaves the world together, that holds the family close, that brings comfort in times of trouble, hope in times of sorrow, joy in times of celebration. The power of women is not always seen, but it is always felt. It is the strength that holds the world together, the wisdom that guides the family, the love that heals the heart. The women are the quiet guardians of the world, the gentle keepers of the old ways, the weavers of fate. Their magic is a thread in the great tapestry of life, a thread that shines with the light of hope, of love, of the gentle touch of the unseen. Even now, in the quiet places of the north, the old wisdom lingers. In the gardens that bloom with wildflowers, in the stories told by the fire, in the gentle rituals of care, there is a sense that the world is still full of magic, that the power of women is still strong, still present, still ready to be honored, to be remembered, to be loved. So let us honor the quiet power of women, the gentle art of healing, the magic of the earth, the wisdom of the old ways. Let us remember the stories, the songs, the rituals, the blessings. For in these simple things there is comfort, there is hope, there is the promise of another dawn. As the fire burns low and the night deepens, let us carry the memory of the women with us, a quiet strength, a gentle guide, a thread of meaning in the tapestry of our days. For in the world of the Vikings, as in our own, the magic of women is always waiting, always whispering, always ready to be honored anew. Let us walk softly, care gently, and remember that every act of kindness is a blessing, every word of comfort a hope, every story a gift, for the world is full of magic, and the women are its gentle keepers. In the hush of the northern night, as the stars wheel overhead and the world grows still, let us remember that the old ways are never truly lost, that the wisdom of women lives on, in the stories we tell, in the rituals we keep, in the love that binds us together, one gentle moment at a time. The world of the Vikings is a world of women's magic, of healing, of hope, of the quiet power that moves through the earth, through the heart, through the soul. It is a world where every act of care is a prayer, every word a blessing, every story a thread in the great tapestry of life. The women are the weavers, the healers, the keepers of the old ways. Their magic is a light in the darkness, a hope. In the night, a promise that the world is full of beauty, full of love, full of the gentle touch of the unseen. In the early morning, as the world wakes, the women move through their gardens, their hands gentle, their hearts full. They gather the herbs, the flowers, the roots, each one a gift, a hope, a promise. They carry their baskets home, their steps light, their spirits bright. They prepare the teas, the salves, the charms, their hands weaving the magic of the earth into the fabric of daily life. The children watch, their eyes wide with wonder, their hearts full of hope. They learn the names of the plants, the songs of the earth, the stories of the spirits. They learn to care, to listen, to honor the old ways. The women teach with patience, with kindness, with love. Their wisdom is a gift, a hope, a promise, a thread in the great tapestry of life, in the quiet of the night. As the fire burns low and the world grows still, the women gather, their voices soft, their hearts full. They share their stories, their hopes, their fears. They find comfort in each other, in the gentle touch of a hand, in the quiet strength of a friend. Their magic is a thing of presence, of attention, of love. It is a magic that weaves the world together, that holds the family close, that brings comfort in times of trouble, hope in times of sorrow, joy in times of celebration. The power of women is a gentle thing, a thing of patience, of care, of love. It is the strength that holds the world together. the wisdom that guides the family, the love that heals the heart. The women are the quiet guardians of the world, the gentle keepers of the old ways, the weavers of fate. Their magic is a thread in the great tapestry of life, a thread that shines with the light of hope, of love, of the gentle touch of the unseen. So, let us honor the quiet power of women, the gentle art of healing, the magic of the earth, the wisdom of the old ways. Let us remember the stories, the songs, the rituals, the blessings. For in these simple things, there is comfort, there is hope, there is the promise of another dawn. As the fire burns low and the night deepens, let us carry the memory of the women with us, a quiet strength, a gentle guide, a thread of meaning. In the tapestry of our days, for in the world of the Vikings, as in our own, the magic of women is always waiting, always whispering, always ready to be honored anew. Let us walk softly, care gently, and remember that every act of kindness is a blessing, every word of comfort a hope, every story a gift, for the world is full of magic, and the women are its gentle keepers. 14. The rituals of passage, birth, marriage, and death in the gentle hush of the northern dawn, when the world is still wrapped in the soft blue of morning and the first birds begin to sing. The people of the Viking world move quietly through their homes, their hearts full of hope, of memory, of the quiet wisdom that comes from living close to the land. In this world, every life is a journey. Every journey is marked by moments of change, of passage, of gentle transformation. The Vikings honor these moments with rituals, with stories, with the soft touch of tradition, weaving the sacred into the fabric of daily life. The rituals of passage are not grand or elaborate, but gentle, woven with care, with love, with the quiet trust in the old ways. They are the moments that mark the turning of the wheel, the crossing of thresholds, the beginning of new stories, the end of old ones. In these rituals, the people find comfort, connection, a sense of belonging, a hope that the world will be kind, that the spirits will watch over them, that the journey will be blessed. Imagine a small house, its walls thick with turf, its roof heavy with the weight of many. Winters, inside, the air is warm, rich with the scent of bread and herbs. The fire burns low, casting a soft glow on the faces of the family. A child is born. Her cries fill the room. Her mother's arms are strong. Her father's eyes are bright with tears. The family gathers close, their voices low, their hearts full. They welcome the new life with song, with story, with the gentle rituals of birth. The naming of the child is a moment of hope, of promise, of gentle magic. The family waits, watching, listening, honoring the old belief that the world is full of spirits, both kind and mischievous, and that to name a child too soon is to draw unwanted attention, to invite the gaze of those who might wish harm. And so, for days, sometimes for weeks, the child is simply the little one, a soul waiting for its place in the world. When the time is right, the family gathers, the fire burns bright, and the old words are spoken. The child is lifted high. Her name is given, not just as a sound, but as a blessing, a hope, a promise. The name is whispered, sung. Woven into the fabric of the child's life, it is a shield, a guide, a gift. The women move quietly through the house, their hands gentle, their hearts full. They tend the mother, the child, the family. Their care is a kind of magic, a weaving of hope and love and the quiet wisdom of many years. They make teas and salves. Their touch is sure, their voices soft. They sing the old songs, tell the old stories. Their presence is a blessing, a comfort, a hope. As the child grows, the rituals of passage continue. The first steps, the first words, the first journey beyond the safety of the home. Each moment is marked with care. With song, with story, the family gathers. The fire burns bright. The old words are spoken. The child is blessed, protected, guided. The rituals are simple, but they are woven with meaning, with hope, with the quiet trust in the old ways. Marriage is another moment of passage, a crossing, of thresholds, a joining of lives, a weaving of stories. The people gather, their hearts full, their voices bright with song. The bride and groom stand together, their hands joined, their eyes shining with hope. The old words are spoken, the vows are made, the rings are exchanged, the family gathers. Close, their voices rise in song, in laughter, in the gentle celebration of love. The rituals of marriage are gentle, woven with care, with love, with the quiet trust in the old ways. The bride is blessed by the women, her hair braided with flowers, her hands anointed with oil. The groom is honored by the men, his cloak fastened with a brooch, his sword blessed with song. The families come together, their hearts full, their spirits light. They share a meal, a dance, a story. The marriage is not just a joining of two people, but a joining of families, of stories, of hopes. The rituals are a way of weaving the sacred into the fabric of daily life, a way of honoring the old ways, the old stories, the old hopes. There are gentle superstitions woven into the rituals of marriage, a sprig of rowan for protection, a knot of red thread for luck, a whispered word of blessing. The people trust in the old ways, in the power of the earth, in the wisdom of the women. They honor the spirits, the ancestors, the old gods. They ask for blessings, for guidance, for peace. The rituals are simple, but they are woven with care, with love, with the quiet trust in the world. As the years pass, the rituals of passage continue. The birth of children, the joining of families, the turning of the seasons. Each moment is marked with care. With song, with story, the people gather. The fire burns bright, the old words are spoken, the family is blessed, protected, guided. The rituals are a way of weaving the sacred into the fabric of daily life, a way of honoring the old ways, the old stories, the old hopes. Death is the final passage, the last journey, the crossing of the greatest threshold. The people gather, their hearts heavy, their voices low. They honor the dead with song, with story, with the gentle rituals of remembrance. The body is washed, dressed in fine clothes, laid to rest with tokens of love and memory. A ring, a comb, a piece of cloth, a small stone, each one a thread in the web of remembrance. The grave is lined with furs, with flowers, with the gifts of the earth. The body is laid to rest. The earth is closed. The people stand together, their hearts full, their spirits lightened by the act of remembrance, the act of love. The rituals of death are gentle, woven with care, with love, with the quiet trust in the old ways. The people speak the old words, the words of blessing, of farewell, of hope. They light candles, sing songs, tell stories. Their presence is a comfort, a hope, a blessing. The dead are honored, remembered, cared for. The rituals are a way of saying goodbye, of letting go, of finding peace. The people find comfort in the knowledge that the dead are never truly gone, that their stories live on, in the hearts of the living, in the stones that mark the fields, in the gentle rhythm of the world. There are gentle superstitions woven into the rituals of death, a coin placed in the hand of the dead, a sprig of yew at the grave, a bowl of milk left at the door. The people trust in the old ways, in the power of the earth, in the wisdom of the women. They honor the spirits, the ancestors, the old gods. They ask for blessings, for guidance, for peace. The rituals are simple, but they are woven with care, with love, with the quiet trust in the world, in the quiet of the night. As the fire burns low and the shadows gather, the people tell stories of the past, of the ancestors, of the spirits who watch over the land. Their voices are soft, their words slow and careful. Their stories are a thread that binds the family, the village, the world together. The rituals of passage are a way of weaving the sacred into the fabric of daily life, a way of honoring the old ways, the old stories, the old hopes. There is a gentle wisdom in these old ways, a sense that the world is alive, that every act of care is a blessing, every word a prayer, every story a gift. The rituals of passage are not just for the individual, but for the family, the village, the world. They are a way of weaving the sacred into the fabric of daily life, a way of honoring the old ways, the old stories, the old hopes even now. In the quiet places of the north, the old wisdom lingers. In the stories told by the fire, in the gentle rituals of care, there is a sense that the world is still full of magic, that the rituals of passage are still strong, still present, still ready to be honored, to be remembered, to be loved. So let us honor the rituals of passage, the gentle art of living, the magic of the earth, the wisdom of the old ways. Let us remember the stories, the songs, the rituals, the blessings. For in these simple things there is comfort, there is hope, there is the promise of another dawn. As the fire burns low and the night deepens, let us carry the memory of the rituals with us. A quiet strength, a gentle guide, a thread of meaning in the tapestry of our days. For in the world of the Vikings, as in our own, the magic of the rituals is always waiting, always whispering, always ready to be honored anew. Let us walk softly, care gently, and remember that every act of kindness is a blessing, every word of comfort a hope, every story a gift, for the world is full of magic, and the rituals are its gentle keepers. In the hush of the northern night, as the stars wheel overhead, and the world grows still, let us remember that the old ways are never truly lost, that the wisdom of the rituals lives on, in the stories we tell, in the rituals we keep, in the love that binds us together, one gentle moment at a time. The world of the Vikings is a world of rituals, of hope, of the quiet power that moves through the earth, through the heart, through the soul. It is a world where every act of care is a prayer, every word a blessing, every story a thread in the great tapestry of life. The rituals are the weavers, the healers, the keepers of the old ways. Their magic is a light in the darkness, a hope in the night, a promise that the world is full of beauty, full of love, full of the gentle touch of the unseen. In the early morning, as the world wakes, the people move through their homes, their hands gentle, their hearts full. They gather the children, the elders, the family, each one a gift, a hope, a promise. They prepare the meals, the songs, the stories, their hands weaving the magic of the earth into the fabric of daily life. 15. The lasting echo. Viking superstitions in modern Scandinavia. In the gentle hush of a northern evening, when the sun lingers low on the horizon, and the sky is painted with the softest shades of gold and lavender, the world seems to pause. The air is cool, touched by the scent of pine and distant sea, and the land is quiet, as if listening for something old, something half-remembered. In this moment, the echoes of the past drift softly through the fields and forests, through the towns and villages, through the hearts of those who call this place home. For in Scandinavia, the old ways are never truly lost. The superstitions of the Vikings linger, woven into the fabric of daily life, a gentle thread that binds the present to the past. The world has changed, the long ships are gone, the great halls have fallen silent. The gods of the old stories have faded into legend. Yet, if you listen closely, you can still hear their whispers, in the creak of a wooden floor, in the hush of the wind through the birch trees, in the laughter of children playing at the edge of the forest. The superstitions of the Vikings live on, not as relics, but as living memories, as gentle habits, as quiet comforts in a world that is always changing. Imagine a small village, nestled at the edge of a deep green forest. The houses are painted, red and white, their roofs steep and sturdy. The gardens bloom with wildflowers. The air is filled with the sound of birds, of distant bells, of the soft murmur of voices. In the evening, the people gather, their faces lit by the golden light, their hearts full of stories, of memories, of the old ways. They speak of the land Vedder, the spirits of the earth, of the Taunt, the little guardian of the home, of the trolls who linger in the shadows, of the signs in the sky, the omens in the wind, the quiet magic that moves through the world. In the kitchens, the old rituals are kept alive. A bowl of porridge left on the windowsill for the Taunt, a sprig of rowan hung above the door, a charm of iron at the threshold. The children learn these habits from their mothers, their grandmothers, their fathers, and grandfathers. They do not always know the stories, but they feel the comfort, the sense of belonging, the gentle hope that the world is full of unseen friends, of quiet protectors, of the old magic that lingers in the corners of the home. The land itself is full of memory, the stones that mark the fields, the ancient trees that stand watch over the villages, the rivers that wind through the valleys, each one a keeper of stories, a witness to the passing of time. The people honor the land with care, with respect. With the gentle rituals of daily life, they walk softly, they speak kindly, they remember the old ways, the old stories, the old hopes. There are festivals too. Moments when the past and the present meet, when the old songs are sung, the old dances danced, the old stories told by the fire. At midsummer, the people gather to light bonfires, to weave crowns of flowers, to sing the songs that have been sung for centuries. They honor the sun, the earth, the spirits of the land. They remember the old gods, the old hopes, the old fears. The festival is a time of joy, of laughter, of gentle magic, a reminder that the world is full of wonder, full of beauty, full of the gentle touch of the unseen. In the quiet of the night, as the stars wheel overhead and the world grows still, the people tell stories of the past, of the ancestors, of the spirits who watch over the land. Their voices are soft, their words slow and careful. Their stories are a thread that binds the family, the village, the world together. The superstitions of the Vikings are not just memories, but living things woven into the fabric of daily life. A gentle presence, a quiet strength, a hope that the world is full of meaning. The old beliefs are not always spoken, but they are felt in the way the people move through the world, in the way they care for the land, for each other, for the stories that shape their lives. There is a gentle wisdom in these old ways, a sense that the world is alive, that every act of care is a blessing, every word a prayer, every story a gift. The superstitions of the Vikings are a way of honoring the mystery, the beauty, the hope that moves through the world, even in the cities, where the lights are bright and the world moves quickly. The old ways linger, a charm hung in a window, a story told at bedtime, a quiet moment of remembrance. The people carry the past with them, not as a burden, but as a blessing, a hope, a promise that the world is full of magic, full of wonder, full of the gentle touch of the unseen. There are those who seek out the old places, the burial mounds, the standing stones, the ancient forests. They walk softly, their hearts full of reverence, their minds open to the whispers of the past. They leave offerings, a flower, a stone, a hope. They listen to the wind, to the birds, to the quiet voice of the world. They find comfort in the knowledge that the old ways are never truly lost, that the wisdom of the Vikings lives on, in the land, in the stories, in the gentle habits of daily life. The children learn the old stories, the tales of the gods, of the heroes, of the spirits who move through the world. They listen with wide eyes, their hearts full of wonder, their minds open to the magic of the past. They carry the stories with them into the future, into the world, into the gentle rhythm of their own lives. The superstitions of the Vikings are not a thing of fear, but of hope, of comfort, of connection. They are a way of remembering that the world is full of mystery, full of beauty, full of the gentle touch of the unseen. They are a way of honoring the past, of finding meaning in the present, of carrying hope into the future. So let us honor the lasting echo of the Vikings, the gentle power of superstition, the quiet wisdom of the old ways. Let us remember the stories, the songs, the rituals, the blessings. For in these simple things there is comfort, there is hope, there is the promise of another dawn. As the fire burns low and the night deepens, let us carry the memory of the Vikings with us. A quiet strength, a gentle guide, a thread of meaning in the tapestry of our days. For in the world of the North, as in our own, the magic of superstition is always waiting, always whispering, always ready to be honored anew. Let us walk softly, care gently, and remember that every act of kindness is a blessing, every word of comfort a hope, every story a gift, for the world is full of magic, and the superstitions of the Vikings are its gentle keepers. In the hush of the northern night, as the stars wheel overhead and the world grows still, let us remember that the old ways are never truly lost, that the wisdom of the Vikings lives on, in the stories we tell, in the rituals we keep, in the love that binds us together, one gentle moment at a time. The world of the Vikings is a world of hope, of the quiet power that moves through the earth, through the heart, through the soul. It is a world where every act of care is a prayer, every word a blessing, every story a thread in the great tapestry of life. The superstitions are the weavers, the healers, the keepers of the old ways. Their magic is a light in the darkness, a hope in the night, a promise that the world is full of beauty, full of love, full of the gentle touch of the unseen. In the early morning, as the world wakes, the people move through their homes, their hands gentle, their hearts full. They gather the children, the elders, the family, each one a gift, a hope, a promise. They prepare the meals, the songs, the stories, their hands weaving the magic of the earth into the fabric of daily life. The children watch, their eyes wide with wonder, their hearts full of hope. They learn the names of the spirits, the songs of the earth, the stories of the ancestors. They learn to care, to listen, to honor the old ways. The people teach with patience, with kindness, with love. Their wisdom is a gift, a hope, a promise, a thread in the great tapestry of life. In the quiet of the night, as the fire burns low and the world grows still, the people gather, their voices soft, their hearts full. They share their stories, their hopes, their fears. They find comfort in each other, in the gentle touch of a hand, in the quiet strength of a friend. Their superstitions are a thing of presence, of attention, of love. It is a magic that weaves the world together, that holds the family close, that brings comfort in times of trouble, hope in times of sorrow, joy in times of celebration. The superstitions of the Vikings are a gentle thing, a thing of patience, of care, of love. It is the strength that holds the world together, the wisdom that guides the family, the love that heals the heart. The people are the quiet guardians of the world, the gentle keepers of the old ways, the weavers of fate. Their superstitions are a thread in the great tapestry of life, a thread that shines with the light of hope, of love, of the gentle touch, of the unseen. So let us honor the lasting echo of the Vikings, the gentle art of living, the magic of the earth, the wisdom of the old ways. Let us remember the stories, the songs, the rituals, the blessings, for in these simple things there is comfort, there is hope, there is the promise of another dawn. As the fire burns low and the night deepens, let us carry the memory of the Vikings with us, a quiet strength, a gentle guide, a thread of meaning in the tapestry of our days. For in the world of the North, as in our own, the magic of superstition is always waiting, always whispering, always ready to be honored anew. Thank you for wandering through the quiet world of Viking superstitions with me tonight. If you wish to explore more forgotten histories, remember to subscribe and return whenever you seek gentle stories for sleepless nights.